Elon Musk and Tesla have announced a couple days ago that they're ending the production on the Model S and the Model X, which is pretty huge news, especially the reason why. And you might think it's just because of maybe sales numbers, or they're trying to introduce new models. No, it's for robots, specifically the Optimus robot, which I don't know if you've seen. It's a humanoid robot that Tesla is making, and they're basically going to be for the general public, and it's kind of going to be like your butler, personal assistant. It's going to be like an Alexa in real life, which is scary. That's what this video is going to be about. Let's get into it. So it was announced a couple days ago that Elon decided to end the production of those two cars, which is just a crazy statement and move that they're making. Now, granted, I did look up the sales numbers, and the sales numbers for those two have not been very good. They've been slowly declining, and they just haven't put much love into those cars at all lately. There hasn't been really any major updates, just a couple of maybe cosmetic things, and that's really about it. And they just kind of been falling by the wayside. And normally, in a situation like this, you're thinking, okay, well, yeah, it's starting to be a drawn out car. Nobody's buying it because it's not exciting anymore. They want something new. But instead of that route, they're switching to robots. Like I said, the robots, that's what they're replacing in the Model S and Model X factories, is robots. And Elon also said in that statement that he's planning on production is going to be at about 1 million robots per year, which is quite a bit. And is this the start of Terminator? Because obviously we know that AI has already gotten pretty advanced in a short amount of time. And now that it's possibly going to be coupled with a humanoid robot that has hands, that can move and can physically kill you, that is kind of a scary thought. And the premise of Terminator. Especially with how fast technology goes, it's only a matter of time before the robots get smarter, more capable, more hand-eye coordination, and just full-on killing machines. Even though obviously that's not going to be their intended purpose, but AI decides to get a crazy voice, or there's a glitch in the programming. We could be in a robot war, which, my God, even in my lifetime, I had never really thought I would be saying. But that's just how the world goes. And I know this video isn't really fully about the robots per se. It's more about the vehicles. But that's just a quick side note of what's to come, I would say. But as far as the car goes, the Model S first came out in 2012, and it was basically Tesla's first flagship vehicle. It's kind of what put them on the map and made them legit, and it was a solid electric car, I guess, for many years. They are still going to be having the Model 3 and the Model Y. Those are currently their best sellers anyways, and those are going to be keeping running production. I'm guessing, that's going to be the main benefactor of what's going to be fueling Tesla as far as profit-wise. The Cybertruck is still up and going for now. Who knows how long that's going to last for. But I think the bigger factor here that not a lot of people have discussed when talking about this topic is it's going to be a pretty significant shift for a lot of reasons, for vehicle reasons and for humanity reasons. I think this signifies possibly that, like I've said in previous videos, that the EV vehicle is just not, it's not doing as hot and not selling like they thought it would, and EVs hasn't taken over and replaced internal combustion engine vehicles as fast as they wanted to. Because clearly that was the goal. That's why even the big three and all the other companies have been switching to electric vehicles. Because they thought that was going to be the big craze, apparently. Even though that's not what the market was indicating whatsoever. And now Tesla, the main EV maker, is killing off two models. And I think that's kind of telling, I know Elon said that sales weren't a reason for this killing off of these models, but I think it could be. They just simply weren't producing enough of those two models to be profitable. And like I said, I just think that's pretty big. I think that's a shift, that goes along with all the other car companies slowing and kind of halting electric vehicle production, and even their plants that they specifically were going to be making EVs for, they're scaling back on that. And now this announcement from Tesla, who is strictly an EV market or company, and they want to start making robots. That's a huge shift in the paradigm. And we're gonna see what ramifications this has. Maybe not so far as Tesla killing off two vehicles. That's maybe not gonna be that huge, possibly for the vehicle market. But the fact that a major U.S. auto company is switching to a completely different product. I mean, this hasn't been done before since World War II, when the big three were forced to start making military equipment for the war effort. Other than that, that's the only time in history that this has happened, and it's a huge shift, I think, and I don't think anybody has really talked about this that I've seen except me. So with that, you are going to get the top tier news and opinions here for this awesome little community we're building. So don't forget to subscribe to Cigars and Coffee and like this video. I appreciate it. But you gotta wonder if the other auto companies are kind of gonna follow suit and maybe start building robots. I know Tesla's kind of their own little genre as far as auto companies go, but it makes you wonder and it makes you think, and that if that's going to be a major turning point, especially with these 15-minute cities that the globalists want us to have, they don't want you to have your own vehicle. So what are the big three and all these companies going to do if basically vehicles are going to be outlawed? Well, this could be the first stepping stone, unfortunately, into producing a new product, and the new product would be robots, humanoid butler robots. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the future plays out, what this means and what it signifies as far as, like I said, humanity, number one, and just a lot of different markets in general. I guess the Optimus robot is what it's called. They're going to be starting at about 30 grand. So significantly a lot cheaper than the Model S and the Model X, because they were about 80 to 100 grand is what they were starting off of. So they are going to be producing a lot cheaper product, granted at probably a lot higher volume. But once again, it's very interesting to see this shift from Elon and Tesla. And let me know, are you interested in buying a humanoid robot? The videos we've seen so far, they're definitely not that capable yet, but in a few years I'm sure they're going to be a lot more capable. So will you be interested in one? Do you think this is a good direction for a company like Tesla to go? Do you want them to still make their other model, or should they just continue to phase out them as an automobile company and become a robot slash just futuristic company. You know, obviously they have Starlink, but they have Neuralink and all these other crazy futuristic things. So who knows? You know, if we're going to be talking real dystopian video games things, you know, GM and Ford and all these people could potentially in the next 20 years basically stop making cars and start making augmentations for humans. You know, if you want to get real video game like, you know, you're going to have a Ford arm or a, you know, Chevy leg on you. It's just the scenarios here and the possibilities are pretty crazy, but it's interesting. That's all we can say. It's an interesting time to be living in right now. That's for sure. So, I just wanted to come on here, give a quick little update and give you my opinion on Tesla announcing they are going to be ending the Model S and the Model X productions. Pretty crazy news, and replacing with robots. Who would have ever thought even 10 years ago? So, let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you later.